Does he have to be better?
Has to be.
I don't think so. I think obviously they didn't finish the job, but Jalen Hurts was incredible last year. If he doesn't get hurt at the end of the season, I mean, we could be talking about him as the MVP, as him and Patrick Mahomes were neck and neck. Does he have to be? No, but I think when you hear and you read about or you listen to everything Jalen Hurts, he's going to be better. It is inevitable at this point because of his makeup. He had an interview with Peter King, and he talked about being a triple threat quarterback. And you hear that, and you're like, triple threat? Well, I know dual threat. You run, you can pass. And then the third thing he said was mind. Being able to process the game and think about it. So for a long time, quarterbacks like him, they were considered not to have that skill set. And he finds that extremely important. And that's the type of guy he is. All we hear about is his work ethic. He was asked about the background on his phone with the confetti falling and all of that. And you think he may take the time to explain it. He was just like, no, I don't want to comment on that. The intent wasn't for the world to see that. That was personal. I just love everything about this guy. The way he goes about doing what he does, it is just incredible. It's fun to watch. I think whenever you talk about Jalen Hurts, it's not a matter of, hey, if he'll get better, what does he have to do to get better? It's just how much better is he going to be next year, because it is inevitable that his growth is going to continue to go. Kyle, to your point, whenever you talk about Jalen Hurts, the sky is the limit.
It's my favorite soundbite of camp. Juju Smith-Schuster said the sky's the limit for the Patriots offense. And I'm like, Juju, you might do some good things here. I don't know about the sky. Right? What do you think, Peter?
You know, okay, follow me here. It's Hall of Fame weekend, and in Super Bowl V, Super Bowl V, go back to then, the Cowboys were up 13-6 on the Baltimore Colts going into the fourth quarter. Colts come all the way back and win 16-13. Yet the MVP of the game was Chuck Howley. He's going into Canton this year. He's going in as a Hall of Fame. His family's going to be inducted. Cool. He's the only player ever to win MVP of a Super Bowl from a losing team.
Okay.
So Super Bowl V, he was unbelievable.
It's really
he wins
cool.
MVP, they lost. I think you could make the argument Jalen Hurts deserved MVP of last year's Super Bowl. He was by far the best player. Now, Mahomes played the biggest play, the run with the ankle and all that. Hurts saved his very best for last. Jalen Hurts was incredible in this game. He was better than any quarterback that we had seen in any game all season, and it was in the biggest spot, Now, of course, he had the one mistake, the fumble, whatever. This guy never relented, and I'm confident if he had a shot, if the penalty isn't called, is anyone stopping him if he got the ball back? So you're telling me, what if he plays like that all season? Because that wasn't him all season. You know, he was good all season. He was in the MVP conversation. He was a nominee for NFL Offensive Player of the Year. He got all the accolades. He got a huge contract. But he wasn't that. Yeah. So to me, it's like, oh, the Eagles, they're the favorites in the NFC. But, what if Jalen Hurts, we see that version of him, which was the best version of him? Are we talking about historic Eagles team? Because they bring just about everybody back. I know we lose Miles Sanders and a couple other guys, but, like, on the most part, the Eagles bring just about everybody back, and they bring in Jalen Carter, and they bring in Keely Ringo, and they got DeAndre Swift. Like, I got to say, I think if Jalen Hurts plays like he plays in the Super Bowl, this might be a runaway train in the NFC this year.
I have a lot of issues with the state of the Super Bowl MVP. I've talked about this. I think it's just become so simplistic and so apathetic. It's just like, oh, the quarterback and the winning team almost all the time. I can point to many examples where that should not have been the MVP, including Mahomes' first Super Bowl win. I don't think he should have been the MVP.
Damian Williams?
Yeah, I think he should have been. And it's like, we would never give it to Damian Williams. It has to go to Patrick Mahomes. Like, it's a little bit more star power than I think is right. And I think Jalen should have won it. I think that would have been really cool. You mentioned the losses for the Eagles. 2 guys on offense from the 11 starters in that game, a guard and Miles Sanders, the running back. That doesn't make me nervous. However, and I'll just be honest, I am a little nervous about the Eagles this year. And I love Jalen and I love Howie and all that. I don't love how hard it is just to do that brilliant of a season 2 times in a row. And what the X's and O's and the personnel aren't there. It's the arbitrary, or the stuff that's not right in front of you. It is bad injury luck. It is just tougher schedules. It's all those things. There is this streak that I find fascinating, I've talked about before, where quarterbacks who lose their Super Bowl debut never get back. And this goes back to the mid-'90s. It starts with Stan Humphries for the Chargers quarterback, and every single one since then has never been back. So we're talking about everybody from Colin Kaepernick to Rex Grossman to Joe Burrow to Jimmy Garoppolo. If you lose your first Super Bowl, going back almost 30 years, you don't make it back. And I don't think it's a coincidence. I think you had this brilliant season. And then, as they say, bleep happens after that. There's injuries, there's contracts, the magic isn't there, the chemistry isn't there. You look at Philadelphia now in August, like, they're perfect, they're amazing, they'll be in the title. We don't know that. All the other teams in their division are better. And I've said this before of Jalen Hurts, like, I love him. I just got my son one of his jerseys. He's had one great season. One. This is not Mahomes. This is not even Burrow, who's had more than one. One. So if just the magic isn't there, if something's changed between the ears, if the chemistry isn't the same, if the injuries happen, it's very difficult to just stay that good when you haven't been consistently before. I'm not predicting it. They're on my watch of teams that could be a letdown this year.
Going
I hope
into
I'm wrong.
last season,
I hope I'm wrong.
The Eagles had 2 first-round picks coming in this draft. There were a lot of Eagles fans who were like, let's get through this season and then we'll draft a quarterback.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Jalen Hurts made it undeniable. So I'm not going. Everyone forgets we have a revisionist history. Not everyone was sold after they lost in the wild card round to Tampa 2 years ago.
And they went defense with those 2 first-round picks this season, and they got better on that side of the ball. But I was at Eagles camp for a back-together weekend, and I was around Jalen, and I had been around Jalen when he was in college at Alabama, and then I watched him now. It's like 5 years ago that we were standing next to each other at the SEC championship. And I'm not when I tell you this story, I don't want you to think that I'm trying to say that Jalen Hurts is like Tom Brady player-wise. Just get that out of your head. I'm standing there talking to Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia over the weekend, and we're reminiscing about the SEC championship game. And he listens to you in a way that reminds me of how Tom Brady does, which he looks at you, he listens, he takes pause, he thinks about what you're saying to him, and then he responds. He doesn't talk over you. He doesn't look over you. He doesn't seem distracted. He is focused on the thing that's in front of him. The person that is giving him attention, he pays equal respect to. I will continue to say, I think his growth between the years has been unbelievable to watch as a quarterback. But as a human, I don't think he needs to be better, because how he has progressed in this game, I think one good season is just the beginning for him at this point, because it's all about growth. And when you listen to him talk, the run-pass mindset, the breed of one is what he wants to call himself all the time. I think this is just the beginning for Jalen Hurts. He's a remarkable young man.
I hope so. I
Yeah.
mean, I like him as a guy, too. Football's tough.
Yeah.
And the NFC is going to be better than it was last year.
Lost both coordinators, too.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to be a challenge this year. I don't think it's going to be a breeze like it was.
But Brian Johnson has been there with him for a long time.
Never called plays.
Yeah.
Never the offensive coordinator.